Hello, group. This is the end of the marking period edition, and I'm going to spend maybe about 6, 7 minutes with you here this morning. I have a couple of things I want to talk about. The first thing I'm going to go over is just some grading things as we end the marking period, as I said, and then the second thing is going to be in regards to the writing that you did a couple of days ago, where you entertained the idea of feudalism and how it was a system that was anachronistic, which means that it's like a time out of place. It's a dinosaur. And feudalism was meant for a particular period, designed to meet the needs of a society of that time. But beyond that, particularly in the modern world, there's no way that you can find application for such a system. And so we'll talk about that in your writing. So the first thing is, let's just run over a couple of elements of grading. There's a couple of grades left. One is an older piece. I saw it probably about from 2 weeks ago that I never got around to grading or writing. I will basically run through that really quick today. It may take me till tomorrow to finish that, but I will get that grade in for you. So I think it's a 15-point writing assignment. And then the last thing that's going to happen is your annotations on commerce and towns, the development of those during the High Middle Ages. Mrs. Levengood is going to be collecting those today, and those two elements, those two assignments will become the last ones for the marking period. Now, overall on grades, this has obviously been an unusual quarter. My demands have not been really very high. You haven't done a great deal of work, but at the same time, there's a lot of grades on the board. So you've had lots of opportunity to keep your grades up. The key to this class is, one, do your daily work, and you'll be in good standing, and then use that daily work, if it's done well, to get ready for the assessments. So the last thing I want to talk about in terms of grades is I need to really tighten up, and I've already begun to do so, where I'm telling some people I can't give you credit when things are coming in 2-3 days late, or in some cases even more than that. You have 1 day for every day you're gone, and with Mrs. Levengood here, my communication, my lines of communications with her are really clear. We get materials back and forth between us quite efficiently and accurately, with the help of Mr. Rockwood, who's our courier. But the key is, you have to have stuff done on time. That's part of being professional. It's part of taking ownership. It's part of the discipline that you'll need in college. So you're finding, for some of you, I'm saying I can't take things in. So as we move on to the second marking period, I really ask for your assistance until I get back on that, and then we can talk about that further. But the key is your help, your ownership of doing things on time and doing them well will help principally you, and then it will also make my load and Mrs. Levengood's load a little bit lighter. So thank you for helping us out. Now, let's turn our attention real quickly to the issue of the writing. Mrs. Levengood and I have also shared on the classroom site an example of the writing, and perhaps Mrs. Levengood will put that up on the board real quickly as I talk. So I'm going to go over some of the elements that I want you to look at, and then we can unpack that. The first thing is a clear main idea. Many of you are still struggling with the concept of how you put together a coherent, broad enough, but yet concise enough explanation of what it is that you are trying to persuade or trying to inform about. So when you look at my main idea, which is green highlighted, you'll see that one, it's composed of a couple of sentences, and oftentimes in material like this, expository text, which is informational text, you'll need a couple of sentences, but beyond that, more than that's a little bit too much, and you need to give it a haircut and pare it back. But the key is, my main idea will stand on its own. It's a clear, quite clearly defined statement that if just by itself it tells you a great deal about the topic. In regards to that, your prompt, if you look at that prompt, many of you did a wonderful job in terms of trying to describe what feudalism was and how it played out in the various elements. But if you look at that prompt, the prompt is telling you, well, you have to talk about the modern world. You have to combine your knowledge of the modern world with that your newfound knowledge on feudalism. And you really struggle with that. So when you approach a writing prompt, particularly like in college, the very first thing you have to do is to have a really accurate and clear understanding of what it is that you are responding to. If you misunderstand that or misread that, then your response is going to be, in many cases, less than accurate. It's not going to address the issue, and you'll see both Miss Lovingood and I. We commented on that where there were a number of you who you talked about feudalism, but you never really addressed the prompt. These assignments were graded much tighter. This is more like you would get graded in a college class. So yeah, many of you took it on the chin, but it's only one assignment. But you need to really be sure of what you're writing about. You'll also see that in terms of my main idea, everything below it comes back to that. If anything is below that, below the main idea, and it has no relevance to what is, in this case, in green, then you don't want it in there. It's gratuitous, it's unnecessary. So you'll note, and I did this in blue, italicized for you, you have myself coming back to the application of modern society. So all the blue text is where I'm talking about modern society, and I talk about it in many different ways. And by doing so, I'm able to switch back and forth between my explaining what feudalism was and then how it could not fit in a society looking for progress, a society that had to be fluid, a society that constantly is confronting change, and in fact is encouraging change, where opportunities and power is always available for those who work on it, who will be rewarded on their merit, not on their birth. This is the type of society where you are innovative, you're creative, you are always looking at things with a critical eye, and in evaluating things through a critical eye, you make progress. You'll note at the end that of this writing, I have a bit of a conclusion where I wrap it all up, and I finish with that thought that forgive me, I'm going to go down here as we're talking. This is a society, feudalism, that was a world trying to protect the status quo. It was a backwards, regressive society, whereas in modern society, if any countries live like this, and there are countries that do that, like in North Korea, for instance, but not even as extreme as North Korea. The Chinese struggle with this in a bit of a way, yet they have embraced other parts of a modern society. They're a bit of a contradiction, but the key is, if you lock down power and authority in whatever form, economic, political, social, you are going to be outpaced by other societies. It is the societies that are the freest, who are the most creative, who invest the most in their people, who have the broadest platform of engagement and inclusion. They are the societies that win. And people, that's the lesson of this whole thing. Not all the minutiae, not all the battles and the names of the Middle Ages. That's details, that's support for what you should know. But I want you to walk away understanding that societies that behave in a particular way, particularly those who have that tendency to shut others out, to lock down power, it will cost them in the end. It will cost their people, it will cost them their nation as they try to compete on a globalized platform. So with that said, I hope that this explanation, and I hope you go back and vet your work and you examine it in light of what I have in front of you, my writing, and in terms of what I just said to you. So next time we write like this, we approach a prompt. Remember, comprehension is a combination of your prior knowledge, what's on the page, the author's thought, and then you putting those together and analyzing and creating understanding, hence comprehension. So let's continue to work on that, improve it, and we're going to build those skills that are going to help you in the workplace and at college. You guys have a great weekend, and possibly next video maybe on somewhere probably in the range of maybe Wednesday or so. Okay, so take care. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.